Welcome to the Optimal Lineups and Stacking Review for DraftKings. I'm Jason Gilbo. With me is Chris Myers making his DFC debut. Week one finally here. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. About time. I feel like it's been a long summer of no football, and we're finally here. So I'm pretty stoked. You did this, and you're going to be doing this for each week here. You broke down three lineups for us with using our optimizer, a cash GPP lineup, and also a stacking lineup. Overall, you talk about a little bit of risk here in terms of this first cash game lineup. How do you feel about in terms of the risk? What do you mean?
The risk I thought just most was for cash lineups. I typically try to go safe, whether that means across the board using upper or mid-tier guys to just kind of get safe points every week, no matter what, because that's what you want. You want to meet value and make cash that way. Taking too many risks can lead to a big difference in points. So in this lineup in particular, the quarterback is the one thing that stuck out at me. Dak Prescott, I think he's, a great GPP option. The weapons are there. He can certainly make things happen this week, but he's also a rookie. He played soft defenses in the preseason. There's no knowing or no telling how it's going to go down this weekend. So using him in a cash game, especially at a position like quarterback, could be a little risky in my opinion.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the lineup fills out pretty solid, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you look here and it's Dak Prescott's kind of been the talk of the town this week. Just because he's that bare minimum price, he helps you kind of fit in a lot of everything else here. In terms of the wide receivers and running backs, Spencer Ware, James White, I imagine they're going to be pretty popular because of value. It seems like the lineup kind of really goes about stacking wide receiver. In terms of wide receiver, are those kind of the three that you feel comfortable using?
Yeah. I would consider looking into a different option for Baldwin, just kind of monkeying around with the money a little bit if you can. But Baldwin's a safe play. He's the top target in Seattle. And, whether you can rely on the Seattle offense to focus on one guy or use them all or focus on the run, there's no way of knowing. But Baldwin's a relatively safe play. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree. 6,600, not a bad price tag either. In terms of here, this one surprised me just a little bit was Jarvis Landry in the flex. I guess on a PPR site like DraftKings, I don't hate the move, but in cash games, I don't know. I feel like that's another one where it could be maybe a little bit different.
A little risky, for sure. Yep.
Yeah. So, Delaney Walker here kind of rounds out the tight end spots. 4,500. He was, pretty stellar last year on DraftKings. Just because he's kind of Mariota's safety blanket. Even in a tougher matchup against Minnesota, I feel like he's still kind of one of those plays where I think he'll pan out as well.
I agree, and I'm a Vikings fan here, and I know our linebackers and everything have really strengthened over the years, but it still seems like a tight end can shred us any given week. And Delaney Walker could certainly, hopefully not do that week one, but I could see that happening. Sure.
In terms of GPPs, this one, it worked in a stack here. It worked in the Seahawks stack. And Seahawks are kind of one of those tricky teams to stack because, as you mentioned earlier, things can get a little weird in terms of, focusing on one guy or really balancing it out. So it's like, if that happens, there isn't a ton of upside. But looking at the value they bring, Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, in terms of the stack alone, how does that kind of rank for you?
I like it. I think the second stack that pulled out, I like a lot better. I feel safer with it. But I'd be fine rolling out with Wilson. Wilson's a top-line quarterback, and he'll put up the numbers no matter what. And then Baldwin, Kearse is the question mark, but you need to have some value in there since you have the addition of Russell now. So you have two options for him. So I think that I like this lineup as well. I probably would have played this one in cash over the actual cash lineup. So it's solid, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You obviously, your big thing was Prescott and being the inconsistency that we're kind of unaware of there. And that shores thing up with Wilson because, Wilson is a great cash game type quarterback. Yep. Looking at kind of the other, Spencer Ware, James White, these guys are kind of churning out everywhere here. They're in all three lineups. Are they guys that you're going to be on your radar? Spencer Ware probably going to be one of the more popular cash game plays. James White, I feel like people are kind of going either way.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's the New England thing. You just never know. White obviously stepping in for Lewis. The assumption is that he'll get those catches and the same amount of usage, but no one knows. You can never know with New England any week. So, I like both those guys in a lineup. I don't know if I'd like both of them in one lineup. I'd like maybe try to split them up and look a different direction if you can. Maybe look for a guy like maybe even like a Chris Ivory or someone. Well, he's questionable, but just maybe find another option in there, or try to find a safer option if you have extra budget, and then plug in a Ware or a White along with that guy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like there's enough value on the slate where you can kind of go, maybe just one value running back and kind of go down at wide receiver in another spot. There's certainly a lot of options you can go with.
Yep.
And you were talking about, obviously, the kind of last stacking lineup here. It brings in the Cardinals. And in Cardinals last year, I mean, one of the top kind of offenses. They have a ton of weapons to really deploy. I like this one because I think, obviously people look at stacking and they go quarterbacks and wide receivers and that's it. But this one tossed in David Johnson alongside those two running backs that we just talked about.
Yeah, that's this was kind of one that I was monkeying around with for the stack. I just kind of chose Palmer, and it popped in. So I didn't end up with Wilson for both stack options. So, this lineup I really like. I like Palmer, I like Floyd, and especially David Johnson this week. I think it should just be a shootout, even with the not rookie, but Garoppolo in New England. So, this is a solid lineup as well. It's probably my favorite lineup of the three. I would use it in both options, GPP and cash for sure this week.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's a lot of safe plays in there. And adding in David Johnson, I mean, I think that helps out. And you're still, you look at these wide receivers that pop in. Baldwin, Watkins are kind of those popular values, I feel like, under 7K. You're getting a lot of kind of bang for your buck there.
Yep, absolutely.
So, in terms of defenses, it seems like the Texans and Chiefs popped out. Those kind of viable options for you in all formats.
Yeah, I think so. I feel safe with the Texans. I think, they're one of the top 5 defenses for sure, and it's not a terrible matchup. Chicago, Cutler's known for turning the ball over, so I really like Houston this week. I think it's a safe play for sure.
Yeah, definitely do too. A lot of upside there. Be sure to check out this article here. We're going to be rolling it out each week. It's up on our homepage right now. And thanks a lot, Chris.
Hey, thank you. Good luck this week, everyone.